Hi everybody, Regulation H just came out. People are really interested in this format. The idea is that all the legendary Pokemon and all the Paradox Pokemon, so your Urshifus, your Fluttermanes, your Kyogres, your Calyrexes, your Groudons, your they're all gone. No more, bye-bye, see you later. Instead, all the non-legendary Pokemon that have been introduced in Scarlet and Violet's base game and the 2 DLCs are legal. So I posted some initial thoughts on Twitter, and it kind of turned into a thread where everyone shared their opinions, which is not really what I meant for it to be. And I really like MBT, so I'm gonna steal his Twitter thread ideas he does. So here we go. First thing first, my initial thoughts are, number 1, the 2 good fighting types were Urshifu and Iron Hands. They are gone, and so all of a sudden we're left with this weird kind of dearth of fighting types. The only real fighting type that off the top of my head that I really can think of that I think is strong is Annihilate. Similarly, with Urshifu being gone and Iron Bundle being gone, all of a sudden the water type slot is opened up again, and there's a lot of water type Pokemon that have been legal this whole time that are good. They're like close, you can kind of see it, but realistically, they just weren't a high enough power level when you're dealing with Pokemon like Iron Bundle and Urshifu Rapid Strike. So those Pokemon being Pokemon like, like Palafin that we saw before the Legendaries got introduced, Primarina, who got introduced in the Indigo Disc DLC, and Araquanid. All of these Pokemon are like pretty strong, bulky water types that just never got a chance to shine because of these other broken restrictions that we had. Same thing again, but for Fluttermane. I mean, the only real Pokemon that I think will show up because of this is like Sylveon. Sylveon's Hyper Voice is stronger than Fluttermane's Dazzling Gleam, so it's actually a stronger Fairy-type spread move. Obviously, it's slower. It might want to do like Calm Mind, bulky leftover stuff, and maybe Gardevoir. Like Gardevoir, if you need a fast special Fairy-type, Gardevoir is really the only Pokemon that fills that niche right now. And similarly, the best Electric types in the format were Raging Bolt and Iron Hands, two more Paradox Pokemon. And you really didn't see Electric types besides those two really doing and sometimes Regieleki doing anything, and those are all gone. And so I'm racking my brain thinking about what electric types are good right now, and it's maybe the Rotom forms and Vikable if you want a slow one, but the quality of electric type Pokemon has really gone down. So now that we've gone through my initial opinions, I'm going to look through some of the comments in here, see what people have to say, starting with Kevin Miller. Kevin is a buddy, he's a local player, he's very good, and he thinks Minshao was still cool. Electric type attacks are definitely muddled, or Luna's gonna go crazy. So first thing he's talking about here is, Minshao is a fighting type option now that Iron Hands and Urshifu are gone. And I said, Minshao's such a mid-mon if you're not getting good use out of Faint and Wide Guard, and that, that's really how I feel about it. Minshao's a Pokemon that, it can only really click close combat, fake out, and supporting moves. And if those supporting moves, like taunt, fake out, knock off, whatever, aren't getting as much value, I don't really see it, right? Like if there's a specific, really dominant Pokemon that you need a good fighting type to threaten through the possibility of them threatening fake out, like for example, if there's a King Gambit or something, then maybe I could see it. But I think on a pure power level, that thing his stats aren't actually that good. He's also mentioning that, the Ursalunas, or Ursaluna Blood Moon and Ursaluna base form, are both still really powerful in this format. Will they be good? Yeah, obviously. They are the closest things to restricteds we still have left. Next, Victoria, Vic Wingley, is talking about Iron Hands. I think she had accidentally forgot Iron Hands the Paradox, and she mentioned that she thinks we'll see Hariyama again too. Hariyama I could maybe see. Hariyama, Wide Guard, Fake Out Mon with Guts. It saw a little bit of play as a Trick Room sweeper in the early Scarlet and Violet days. I do think, unfortunately, that given that the hard Trick Room style teams generally don't have that much use for Fake Out because they want, Psychic Terrain, which will block the priority, and we have a stronger Guts user in Ursaluna that Hariyama probably won't see too much play. He also has some competition as a Wide Guard fighting type in Gallade. We saw how strong Gallade is on these Trick Room teams as recently as, the format before this one, Regulation F, Reg F. So Hariyama might see some play, Gallade might too, but those are 2 fighting types that on specific niches, they're not really like slot-on type Pokemon, but on specifically these hard Trick Room style teams, might see some play. Mike W. Says that Raichu, who is still mid, but Palmot is probably real, because it's a fighting type, and not sure if Palving survived in Vanilla Boom world, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, so 2 things here. Number 1, Raichu, technically an electric type, right? But Raichu's really strong thing is it is a electric type that enables your water types to survive in a hostile metagame to them when there are Pokemon like Raging Bolt or Iron Hands trying to use electric type attacks on your water types. And as we just said, a lot of the electric types are going away. So if Raichu's not getting good value out of Lightning Rod, I don't really see it. Palmot though, maybe. I mean, Palmot saw a little bit of play in the very beginning of Scarlet and Violet, and its move Revival Blessing is objectively, really strong. but another Pokemon who just doesn't have that high of stats, right? Like, Pawmot, I would not be surprised by. It's like, for example, if Dondozo starts picking up again, or if it's just a team that really, really needs a Pokemon that has close combat, or that has like a fighting type attack and electro type attack. But I wouldn't be excited about playing Pawmot on my team. If I'm playing Pawmot on my team, it's because I need that slot to do something very specific. But I can definitely do that one, so we'll add Pawmot of our list of potential fighting types. Ghost just asks what niche Vikavolt fills. Just really quickly, Vikavolt is a slow, very strong, special electro type attacker. Has access to Levitate, which means it actually is immune to ground type attacks. So its only weaknesses are those it gets from Bug. There are a lot of, but you know, if you hit them with your, I think it's like 145 base special attack, something like that, before they move, then it doesn't matter, right? So if there's a Trick Room team that needs an electric type, you know, the way they used to have Iron Hands and now they used to have Raging Bolt, and now they're gonna have Vikavolt. So that sure is Rotom. Another person who is very Vikavolt pilled. Party Bear says, I'm looking forward to trying Flamigo as a fighting type since I missed their regulations. Other than the big three, it feels like open season. I can't wait. I don't know what the big three they're referring to is. It might be like Incineroar, Palafin. I think Palafin's good. I don't think it's as good as people think it's going to be, but it will be strong. And Flamigo as a fighting type, I mean, it does get scrappy, right? Which means it can do cool things like close combat Golden Go, but I don't know. I don't know about Flamigo, I'm not gonna lie. Arcaladon on paper should do amazingly well. Resists Fire, Water, Grass, has strong fighting electric type moves. I do agree that Arcaladon's gonna be really strong. I think that if I don't really play Doubles OU, but my understanding is that in Doubles OU, where Pokemon like Fluttermane are banned, Arcaladon is exceptionally powerful. And yeah, similarly here, a lot of Arcaladon's natural enemies, you know, the strong fighting types, the scary fairy type. Yeah, a lot of Arcaladon's natural predators are gone. You know, Fluttermane, Iron Hands, Urshifu, Landorus are all gone. The only Pokemon left that like really is strong and threatens to OHKO Arcaladon is Ursaluna Bloodmoon, which considering that Arcaladon wants to be on a rain team, you will naturally have partners that really pressure that Ursaluna Bloodmoon, you know, with, you know, Basculegion or Palafin or Pelipper or whatever. And he's going to be really hard to OHKO in this format because of that. He's going to have time to get those Electroshock boosts. He's going to have time to get Pollen Puffed back up by Amoonguss. And while you're sitting there trying to, you know, whittle it down, it's getting those stamina boosts, making it harder to remove as you're healing it. So I do think that, you know, Stamina, Salt Vest, Terra Grass, Arcaladon is probably like level 1 of the format. Like, that's probably the first thing a lot of people are going to try. I know I already have it in my team builder. This guy says, Sylveon comeback? Yeah, Sylveon's going to be really strong. I've already talked about this. Mitchell Ray says, don't be sleeping on the Paldean and Tauros forms. If you need a fighting type and Intimidate in the same slot, they're an option. They're fine. They're kind of fast. Like, the fire one gets Will-O-Wisp, but like, why are you running that over Incineroar? And the water one, why are you playing over Gyarados? I take it back. I don't think they're gonna be very strong at all, actually. April Conway says, having used it a bit, Conkeldurr feels like it will be pretty good, though a bit niche into balanced TR teams. I do think that Conkeldurr has a niche. It's a Gutsmon, so it fights with Ursaluna Bloodmoon, or Ursaluna base form, but it does get a priority move in Mach Punch, and it is a fighting type, which will be at a premium, especially because it hits the Ursalunas pretty well. My gut tells me that kind of like cycle of like using Conkeldurr, so your Guts boosted Mon beats their Guts boosted Mon versus Ursaluna, sounds cute, and people will try it. I think it'll pan out that Conkeldurr just requires a lot of similar resources to use and wants to be on similar teams, and as such, Ursaluna will probably be stronger, unless people want to do like Conkeldurr with Ursaluna Bloodmoon or something. Conkeldurr is another one where it's like, he's on my list. I think he is in the brain. He is in my skull, but he's not like on my list of like first things to build around. This guy, Richie Gonzo, says there are literally 0 good electric types in this format. Almost true. I think we're gonna see a lot less electric types, right? Because I think Amoonguss is really good in this format also, so even the good electric types have to contend with Mr. Gus. Raidena says, Como-O goes crazy, been pretty good in Regulation A+ tournaments. So there have been people that have been playing this format, like Regulation A+, casually for a while. I think officials haven't really paid attention to it, but it is a thing people that are doing. And yeah, I think Como-O will be pretty strong, right? Like Fluttermane and Tornadus, the 2 Pokemon that like really pressured it, especially if you're going for the Iron Defense variant, are gone. A lot of the Pokemon that are pressuring it still are pretty weak to you know, like Sylveon, or like, you know, some whatever flying attackers we have flying around, are pretty weak to Pokemon that Como-O naturally likes to be paired with, like Tyranitar and Amoonguss. So I think we will see some pretty powerful like Como-O T-Tar stuff flying around. This guy is talking about Rain being good. We've already talked about this. Arcaladon Rain will probably be like the level 1 team to beat. No Fluttermane means I can use a team based around Dragon Cheer again. I don't know if I think Dragon Cheer is going to be very strong. However, I do genuinely think that we are going to see a big uptick in Dragon types. You know, without Fluttermane, such a super strong, fast, oppressive fairy type, made it that if you were a dragon type, you had to be doing something really, really, really special to be worthwhile. Even in like Regulation B, like the only real dragon type that saw a lot of play is Garchomp, or other Pokemon that outsped it, like Dragapult. You couldn't just play like your generically relatively strong dragon types. If you wanted to be doing stuff like playing, Salamence, people had to put a choice scarf on it, or make it Terra Steel. It was, if you wanted to run a dragon, you had to be very, very, very intentional about how you beat specifically Fluttermane, and that made it awkward. It just made it awkward to run a dragon type. And now Sylveon, obviously, fairy types will still pressure it, but less fast, will be way less oppressive. You'll be able to run a lot. Dragon types stock goes up a lot, especially because all the Pokemon we've been talking about as like super, super strong. It's a lot of fire, water, grass type stuff, right? Which dragon types are good against. Next up, King says that he can see Sneasler and Como doing well. And Conkeldurr, we've talked about Conkeldurr and Como already. Sneasler, maybe I'm just a hater. I don't really get Sneasler, right? Like, he is fast, and he has a poison stab and a fighting stab. Well, I guess, fighting types will be at a premium. So maybe you could do like Grassy Seed stuff with Rillaboom and like Swords Dance or something. That could be kind of cute. I don't know. I'm skeptical on Sneasler, but I think it's just the type of Pokemon that I wouldn't personally play, so I could just be wrong. This guy, I'm not gonna be mean to him, but I'm going to kind of use it as an example here. I toyed around with Scrafty a bit in Regulation F, and he felt pretty decent to use outside of specifically Fluttermane. I'm hoping to finally get some proper use out of him. So here is the thing. This format, people are gonna be like, oh, we can use our best guys again, our favorites. We're gonna use silly guys. That's not what's gonna happen, right? Like, there are always strong Pokemon. There are always Pokemon that are better than others. People are talking about using things like, like Mousehold and things like Meowscarada from Pokemon that they played with in Regulation A. And this might be controversial, but I do think it's true. I think this format we're going into is a higher power level format than Regulation B was, where we had like, the base Scarlet Violet decks and the Paradox Pokemon. I think this format's stronger. I think we're getting like Pokemon like having access to things like, Rillaboom, Incineroar, Basculegion even. Like, there are still a lot of these like kind of powerful, oppressive Pokemon that are going to dictate the way the format works, right? And Scrafty, cool Pokemon, true, hated fairy types, but a lot of the stuff that beats Incineroar, fighting type attacks, strong special attackers, Scrafty also kind of hates. Right? I don't think the only thing Scrafty brings to the table that Incineroar doesn't is it like theoretically beats Incineroar in a 1v1. Dark typing isn't particularly valuable in this format, at least as far as we know, because it's not like there's a lot of strong psychics, and Dark actually isn't that strong of a defensive typing. So I don't think Scrafty's it. I'm gonna be honest. The only real Intimidators I see competing with Incineroar are Gyarados and maybe Arcanine if you're like a really offensive team that needs that like fast rock slider. Don't be sleeping on Electros. I'm gonna sleep on Electros, I'm sorry. Two people here are talking about Kilowattrel. Kilowattrel saw a little bit of play in Regulation A, it has Wind Power Tailwind, right? So you click Tailwind to get a boost and have a really strong electric type attack next turn with like Thunderbolt or Discharge or whatever. One of my friends actually was really, really interested in Discharge Kilowattrel plus Garchomp in Regulation A, which definitely wasn't bad. But I don't think it's really gonna be, all that in a bag of chips. Why did I say that? I've never said that in my life. I don't really know about Kilowattrel. Like, it is a flying type. There aren't that many flying types that are going to be good in this format, so like having does it get Air Slash? I think so. It might show up. I think like the premier flying type in this format is going to be Pelipper. Yay, Pelipper! Pelipper always wins! But I'm not sure. I think that there's going to be a lot more Rock Slide Pokemon. T-Tar, Garchomp, and Kilowattrel hates that, obviously. But maybe. This is one that I think the Kilowattrel just doesn't have like the raw, like, power level to be good in this format, but this is what I could be wrong about. This person says Poliwrath stocks to finally to the rise. Poliwrath is a water fighting type. We just lost a really good water fighting type. What is Poliwrath's base attack stat? Oh. I see. Yeah, we're not gonna play with Poliwrath. Como, Hawlucha, Conkeldurr. We talked about Como and Conkeldurr. There was a pretty okay Hawlucha, like Psychic Seed Hawlucha Swords Dance team in Regulation C, if I recall correctly. And that team was pretty cool. So, maybe that'll be something. Who knows? Pincurchin will rise. Pincurchin will not rise. They took away his best friends. They took away the only Pokemon that made Pincurchin worthwhile. All the future paradoxes are gone. Breloom boy. I wonder if they're biased. Says, you're sleeping on Breloom as a good fighting type, probably doesn't get anywhere near to Ape, but still good from the looks that I've had at it. Yeah, Breloom's a Pokemon that, like, is always pretty close. I don't like it personally. Well, it's pretty slow, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty slow. It hits. I didn't know it hits so hard. Maybe you could do maybe like this. Like maybe you could do that, like just like fast, like hits pretty hard with the ignition boost and loaded dice and the bullet seed makes it a really powerful move. Yeah, maybe actually, I'm gonna take it back. I think Breloom might like be a Pokemon that surprises us. Will I be cooking if I use Belly Bolt and a Alolan Raichu? Yes, you are. Belly Bolt, like people played that mon, and this format's gonna be pretty bulky, so like. No, stop playing Belly Bolt. Oh, yeah, it's bad against Ursaluna. Okay, yeah, never mind. Don't play Belly Bolt. Alolan Raichu, they took away the best electric terrain setter. That's really the only thing Alolan Raichu is going for it over base Raichu. Water Raptor Poliwrath. We already did this. Tauros form, so we already talked about this. Kilowatt, we already talked about. This guy is talking about Hitmontop. And honestly, I don't know, why is this like a weird Polaroid of Hitmontop? Maybe, like hard maybe on Hitmontop. I can kind of see it, right? Like he has Fake Out, he has Coaching, he beats Incineroar. He offers a lot more unique things than the other fighting type intimidators people are talking about, like Scrafty and the Tauros breeds. So I'm gonna give this one like a maybe. That'd be sick. I want this one to be true. I don't think it is, because he is kind of frail, isn't he? Yeah, he is pretty bulky. Pretty bulky, attack stats medium. Oh, he gets ignition. Oh wait, you need Intimidate. I take it back. I don't think Hitmontop's gonna be very good. Dozotatsu, Murkrow becomes viable. I think Dozotatsu will be good. It's not gonna be as good as people are making it out to be, because there's just a lot more Pokemon that are like high enough power level that they can just kind of bust through the defense boosts. Like for example, I think Ursaluna Blood Moon, who's going to be exceptionally popular, just helping hand Terra normal Blood Moon with Life Orb, is going to blow up your Dondozo when you're not going to kill it back, and then you're just in an awkward position. Murkrow becomes viable again. Like a hard maybe, probably not. Like if we really need Haze, then maybe, I guess. But realistically, we have Whimsicott now, which is a much stronger Tailwind setter. The only reason Whimsicott is niche right now is because it's fighting with Tornadus, who will be gone, right? So I think the two Tailwind setters will be Talonflame and Whimsicott. So, that is, people's opinions. Figured I'd give it a little shout out. I will give a much more thorough video on this soon, like an actual video essay style video, because I do think this is an interesting topic. And it is a very different format, and it gives me an excuse to complain about paradoxes in particular, who I really don't like. So thanks for watching. If you want more like opinion pieces like this, let me know. Also, I stole this video from MBT. MBT, don't sue me. I don't think you can, but don't try it. All right, bye-bye. See you later.